The Poetic and Prophetic books. We're continuing the Nahum section. What more prosperous conditions are predicted after these judgments? 4, 1 and 2. What oft-quoted utterances are found here? Verses 3 and 4. What remarkable prophecy concerning the place of the Messiah's birth? 5, 2. Well, there's a lot of Messiahs in what they call the Old Testament. So, how much do we know of the personal history of Nahum, the probable time of his ministry, the subject of his prophecy? Of what empire was Nineveh the capital? How did it rank among cities? And what was its general character? What event of historic interest and importance occurred in Nahum's time in the relations of the Assyrians to the Jews? What striking feature of the divine character are set forth at the beginning of this prophecy? And remember, there's a difference between the Jews and followers of Judaism. What striking features of the divine character are set forth at the beginning of this prophecy? Chapter 1, verse 2, 3, and 7. How is Nineveh described, and what is intimated concerning the energy and enterprise of the city? Chapter 3, verse 1 and 2. To what condition was she doomed? Verses 3, 7, 10, and 12. What were these predictions fulfilled? Is there anything known of Nineveh in these latter times? So we're on to part 12 here. Habakkuk, Zephaniah, Haggai. Is that a ch or is it a h? And I think that's it. And I think that's, there's a Q in there somewhere, isn't there? Habakkuk. So we're not, if we were trying to pronounce these, and we wouldn't be directed towards the right people if they were right in front of us back then. 600, and those no J names either. 626 BCE, Habakkuk. This prophet was doubtless a contemporary of Jeremiah, though no account of him is given either in his own writings or in any of the historical books. It is evident that he preached to the people some little time, at least before the overthrow of the nation, since he denounces the peculiar sins of that period and predicts the Chaldean invasions, setting forth in vivid language the characteristics of the invaders. Chapter 1, verse 6 through 9. The style is highly poetical and the imagery very fine. The first two chapters have the form of a dialogue between the prophet and the divine ruler. The third chapter is a prayer or psalm which, for grandeur of poetic conception and sublimity of expression, is seldom equaled in the literature of any language. Zephaniah, 630 BCE. We have the genealogy of Zephaniah and the time of his ministry clearly stated in the opening passage of his written prophecy, as he predicted the fall of Nineveh. And as that city was destroyed about the middle of the reign of Josiah, the prophecy must have been made in the earlier part of the reign. He is supposed to have been a contemporary of Habakkuk and also of Jeremiah. The book begins with the denunciation of terrible judgments upon the people for their idolatry, pride, and wickedness. Afterward, great calamities are predicted to the surrounding nations. The book closes with a call to repentance and a promise of future restoration and peace. Haggai, 520 BCE, so he may have encountered followers of Judaism. This prophet was of the number who returned from the captivity under Zerubbabel, according to the decree of Cyrus, the biblical Messiah, Koresh. He exercised, there's more than one Messiah, but he's labeled as Messiah in the Bible. He exercised his office during the troublesome times of the rebuilding of the temple and the reorganizing of the community. While we have not any more knowledge of Haggai's personal history than of the prophets who preceded him, we have unusually explicit information concerning the time of his preaching. We are told not only in what year he prophesied, but in what month and on what day of the month. 3 such dates are given, and all of them within the space of 4 months in the 2nd year of Darius. After the death of Cyrus, the returned Jews were hindered in their work of reconstruction by the interference of the hostile Samaritans and others, and for 16 years almost nothing was done. On the accession of Darius Hystaspes, he renewed the decree and gave aid to the Jews, but years of inactivity had dulled their zeal. And it required the rebukes and exhortations of the people of the prophets to stir up their interest and enthusiasm. This furnished the chief occasion and object of Haggai's ministry. In this, too, he and his co-laborers were successful, and the grand undertaking was, in a few years, successfully accomplished. What was the time of Habakkuk's ministry? What evidence have we that he preached before the overthrow of Jerusalem? What can be said concerning the style and form of the writing? What do we know as to the morals of the people? Chapter 1, verse 3 and 4. How are the Chaldean invaders described? Chapter 2, verse 2. What expression do we find here that is used to illustrate the clearness of gospel truth? 2:2. What words are often quoted to express the essence of Protestant Christianity? What rebuke is given to those who tempt others to drunkenness? So verses 4 and then 15 here. Character of the last chapter gives some of the more highly poetical passages. What formula of extraordinary faith do we find here? 3:17 and 18. What is recording concerning Zephaniah? In whose reign did he prophesy? What reason have we for placing his ministry in the earlier part of this reign? Give the chief topics of the book. How does the prophet represent the coming judgments upon the people? 1:14 and 15. How does he describe the future condition of Nineveh? 2:14, 15. How does this correspond with the facts? What encouraging prospect is held forth concerning the future of Jerusalem? And what does it probably signify? Chapter 3, 14 through 20. Judgments on the people, 1:14, 15. Condition of Nineveh, 2:14 to 15. 3:14 through 20. At the time of Haggai's ministry, how long a time do his published prophecies cover? The political condition of the people at this time, the occasion of Haggai's addresses and exhortations. And the more symbolic and colorful you get, the longer the period of time these things encompass. But the prophetic missions, obviously things are degraded. You have all these pseudo-epigraphal books that don't, who knows how much of them were the words and how much was representative and what was priestly sayings. A lot of it's hard to tell. But prophecy isn't just prediction. So, what does he urge the people to do? What reproach does he utter? Chapter 1, verses 4 and 9. What was the effect of his preaching? 1:14, 15. Do we find any confirmation of this in the historical books? Ezra 6:14 and 15. And it's sacred history, so there's sort of a difference.